on, everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yeah, day 23 here on the 31 Days of Horror Volume 5, and we are going to take it back to 2002 with a film directed by one of my personal favorite directors of all time, Jean Rollin. And this is an oddity. And one of the last films that he ever directed, one of the last two horror films that he ever directed, and it is called Dracula's Fiancee. This release from Redemption actually comes with a bonus film called Lost in New York. That was a film shot in 1989 for TV, actually. It's like a short film. It plays under an hour long, but we're just going to talk about Dracula's Fiancee today. Dracula's Fiancee obviously has, to do with Dracula and stuff. If you know anything about Jean Rollin and his films, he is pretty much known for, dabbling into, the mythology of vampires and stuff like that. Not necessarily doing like Dracula type based mythology in folklore films, but he deals with vampires and stuff, and they're very dream-like and things like that. But let's get into the synopsis of this one. Basically, this one follows our two main characters. There's like a professor and he's got a sidekick. They're pretty much like the Van Helsing type characters. They are hunting Dracula. And so that's what they're trying to do. And the funny thing about this movie is that there's no real reason behind them hunting Dracula, because we haven't even really been introduced to Dracula. We don't know anything about him and things like that. It's such a strange setup. They're just hunting him. So I'm assuming that Jean Rollin wanted you to just kind of take the mythology of Dracula and kind of incorporate that into this narrative and be like, okay, well, he's already an established character. Now we've got this Van Helsing type character and he's out to kill him kind of thing. So anyways, So they are hunting Dracula, of course, and of course they meet a whole pile of weird-ass characters along the way. They try to get information out of this little short midget guy and stuff by threatening him and his creature girlfriend and things like that, which one thing leads to another, and they get led to this place called the Order of the White Virgins. It's a convent full of nuns, and they are basically responsible for protecting the Dracula's fiancée. She's housed there and she's acting like really, really strange and stuff, and you get to learn that Dracula actually can holds this like weird thing over people. He can control your mentality in a sense. He kind of makes you go a little bit crazy and you act like really strange and stuff. So when they get to this convent, women are just acting like strange. They're acting like they're like 4-year-olds, and it's very quirky and odd and stuff. And of course, we get introduced to the fiancée, and she is just like totally bizarro too and shit like that. It's like they're almost hypnotized in a sense. They almost seem like they're hypnotized. They almost seem like they have dual personalities. You can kind of snap out of it and you become a different personality and stuff, but they're all being controlled by Dracula. It's very strange. And the other part of it that's really strange is that these characters don't really know who Dracula is. He's just kind of controlling them. How he's doing it, I don't know. He's got magical, mythical powers, I guess. It's very strange. But anyways, they get to the convent. They try to, conceive a plan to get her out of there, because, they want her to basically lead them to Dracula so they can, extinguish Dracula and stuff like that. That doesn't really go as planned. The virgins make it out she makes it out of there, but the virgins are protecting her, and they're actually responsible for bringing the fiancé to Dracula so he can get married and, do his thing kind of thing. So that's basically the setup of the film. Now my thoughts on this one. Yeah, man, the narrative here is like freaking all over the place. It's just crazy. There's so many types of characters that are coming and going in and out of this film. Like there's this ogress character, which is very odd. And then there's like this wolf woman character played by Bridget Leahy, who's a staple in Jean Rollin films. Like she's in lots of his other older films and things like that. She was actually an ex-French porn star. Which she's actually a really good actress though. But yeah, like her character is very strange too, because they're not in makeup. Like they're just these characters or these creatures that are being controlled by Dracula. So, along their journey, they run into all these type of characters and all these creatures and stuff they have to fight off and things. But the thing that really separates this movie from a typical Jean Rollin film is the fact that it's really quirky and goofy. Now, again, if you know anything about Jean Rollin films, they're very dead serious. They're always very atmospheric and dark and nightmarish and dreamlike type films, and they're very serious. There's a lot of elements here that are present compared to his older films, like, you know, the act of, you know, vampires and lesbians and, you know, the dreamlike atmosphere and things like that. You know, it's very much like a Jean Rollin film. It's shot in pretty much the same locations that he shoots all his other films. Again, going back to, if you're familiar with his films, you know that he likes to shoot on the seashore, like on the beaches and stuff, at this one area. Pretty much all of his films have that area in there. Yeah, it's also present here. So a lot of the same elements, but again, what separates this movie is the quirkiness and the goofiness of the characters. Just the dialogue too, and just the pure sheer oddity of the narrative, and the way he incorporates the Dracula mythology and kind of creates his own thing out of it is very odd and strange. Like, I still don't even really know what to think of this movie, because I wasn't sure really what to expect getting into it, because like I said, you know, it dabbles in the Dracula mythology, but it also gets into like nunsploitation too, and it's such a weird oddity, man. Such a weird film. This one definitely is not going to be for everybody. Like I said, Rollin is one of my favorite directors of all time. I love what he does, how he can establish that nightmare logic and that dreamlike escape, and his cinematography is always beautiful, and he's got really good set pieces and things like that, and he always has that kind of, you know, that lesbian aspect to it and shit. Like I said, it's all here, but it's just done differently. It's a little bit quirky. The other thing that really shocked me about this, it being such a later film in 2002, I expected it to have like more of a digital look. I thought he might get a little bit more modern with his film, or with his cinematography. No, this movie looks like it was shot in the 70s. It looks exactly like his older films and the way they were shot. It's got that kind of washed out look. It's shot on film. It's really crazy. I could not believe what this movie actually looked like. So the look was good. The presentation was awesome. You know, certain, you know, elements of characters and stuff were really cool and stuff, but it was just the wider scheme of the narrative, which was really odd, and just the quirkiness I couldn't bring myself to accept, because I just don't think it worked for a Rollin film to be that odd and try to throw in these comedic moments and stuff. There's a little bit of gore here. There's a scene where the professor actually like rips out this heart of one of the creatures with like one swing at this hammer thing, and it's so funny the way it just like comes out of her chest. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there is, you know, Rollin things here, man. There's like hot women, there's lots of nudity, there's tons of nudity in this movie, and stuff like that. But again, you know, as I'm watching this film, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is this comedy working for me, or is it working for anybody else? I don't really know. Definitely a strange one. The ending's very strange to it. The ending's very typical Rollin, to be honest. It is what it is and stuff, but I love how this thing kind of goes from being a vampire film filled with all these mythical creatures and these oddity creatures to like straight up nunsploitation at the same time, and then just with this odd like kind of love story, and this Dracula that hasn't really done anything wrong in the movie. You know, he's just there. You know, he just wants to get married and shit, but these guys are out to kill him. And it's such a fucking weird movie, man. Dracula's Fiancee. If I have to rate this one, I'm gonna come in at about a 5.5 out of 10. I still don't even fully know what to think of this movie, because it was a first time watch. It was actually the only Jean Rollin film I'd never seen besides Lost in New York, which is just a short film. But out of his main features, horror film features, that was the last one I needed to see. And yeah, actually, I guess his very last film that he did in 2008, which doesn't have a release. I don't think it has a release anywhere, but I don't think anyone's seen that. Yeah, I still need to see that one. But modern day Alice in Wonderland, in which two siblings explore the West. Yeah, okay, that's Lost in New York. But yeah, anyways, I digress. This is such a weird film. If you're a Jean Rollin fan, I do say check it out. If you've never checked out any Jean Rollin films, do not start with Dracula's Fiancée. Please do not start with this film, because this might actually throw you off a little bit because of the comedic elements, but I assure you his films are not generally like this. So just, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was laughing the whole time, because I don't know if I was laughing because it was funny or if it was just so ridiculous that I was seeing a Jean Rollin film like this. But anyways, that's going to do it here for day 23. Check you guys tomorrow on day 24. And as usual, deuces!